All right, with the season wrapping up, I mean, of course, probably do this again at the actual end of the year, going into the off season, that kind of thing. But with that, there's only like four or five games left, so it's really do or die for coaches and players, but in particular, quarterbacks, specifically the younger quarterbacks. Uh, I felt like we've this. It felt like this has been the most amount of young quarterbacks we have either seen either play, especially I feel like played, or done had like the reins to a team. To me, like I want to say like Love is going to count here, but normally I will say like 2 years or younger kind of thing. But we could say on a rookie deal, like kind of thing. Now, uh, as now they're going to be like, that's why I said this is for the young quarterback because obviously at the end of the season we can have conversations like Winston and Carr, those, that dynamic. Minshew, who's looking really well as well too, really get a job somewhere else. But with the younger quarterbacks, now I was like, let's go ahead and get some obvious people out the way, like 49ers and Brock Purdy. He's on one of the cheapest ass contracts. He's doing everything that they want him to do plus more. I was like, there's no jeopardy here with him at all. They jettisoned their first round pick just in order to make sure that he was safe. He's not going anywhere. There's no point in doing that. I want to give a shout out to Love at the same time because I felt like how he played in the middle of the year. People were really like on him, like, yo, this is it. He about to be done. And now he done picked it up to late where everybody's back on the no, he's a franchise quarterback, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I was like, he should be. He signed that little mini contract in order to give himself a little extra wiggle room. I was like, no, just play that contract out. There's no reason to try to. I was like, no, give him. His team is young. All the receivers are young. All this time. The defense is the only one that got like veterans really on it. And outside of Jones, who ain't played as much this year and probably not going to be there again, everybody been young, so everybody trying to figure it out. And sometimes you got to realize how much your arm talent and all that other stuff can do for you. Another obvious one, I was like, just because it just really cut out like how I was doing with the year. Jalen Hurts, job is safe. There's no reason to talk about it. He's good. Yeah. C.J. Stroud with the Houston Texans, nothing to talk about here. I was like, that dude about to pretty much lead his team to the playoffs potentially. And I feel like even that saying that is pretty much pretty much an indication that nah, his job's safe. He's good. You ain't got to worry about that. Anthony Richardson for the Colts. I was like, he's good. He's safe. I was like, and I know with the first round quarterbacks, you pretty much aren't going to do anything until probably about like year 2-ish, 3, somewhere in there anyway. But I think as long as I was like, if these injuries are just sort of just like really like a flash in the pan kind of thing where it was just like, oh, it happened back to back, and that's why, then I think he's good. If he comes out next year and it's sort of similar, it's gonna then start looking rough for him in that regard. But and then Arizona Cardinals, I was like Kyler Murray, cause I was gonna say how it ended was going last year, how it was sounding, and I was like, but since he had that injury, he's going to get the rest of the season to play out. He'll get next year to also play out. And that's when the evaluation, I feel like, of like moving on would really kick in for Colin Murray. And I was like, I know he also just got a contract too, but I like the way it was talking, it sounded like he was on the outs just as much. I was like, he's not young, but Baker Mayfield with the Bucks, I feel like that's sort of in the air. I think that he probably will come back just for at least unless they are able to have one of these quarterbacks fall to them. And even then, I think he still is probably going to be on the team. But now that they draft a quarterback, it looks a little different. But I think they'll bring him back. Cause I was like, he had to play. I was like, he was really good at the very like first quarter of the season. Then he sort of dropped off to like good quarterback. It's better than what he was with the Browns at towards the end. it wasn't, to me, it hadn't been as high except for at the beginning than it was when he had, like, I think it was like his second, third season or whatever. So I think he's relatively safe as well, being with the team. Um, Tua Tagovailoa for the Dolphins. He's safe. He's coming back. I was like, do I think you could do more at quarterback? Yeah, but I think he also works for that in that system. He gets the ball out pretty quickly. Unless he's trying to save it for one of them deep shots, I think his deep ball has improved as well too. Because now I feel like he's getting Tyreek the ball with him able to actually run afterwards. So I think he's good. I was like, he is safe. I'm gonna say I think the Titans are good with Will Levis. Malik Willis I think he probably is gone. They might keep him just because they'll keep somebody else familiar with the team. But so I was like, I could see him staying unless they get a veteran, that kind of thing. But Will Levis looks like the quarterback for them. I was like, plus he's gonna be on a cheap contract. He has the early round pedigree, even though he fell to like the fourth. Cheap contract, you're able to build around him, probably get rid of some of the veterans, and that way you could do more things. He showed a good amount. I was like, Sam Howell, I think that this one's tricky because Ron Rivera is going to be gone, and it's going to be up to the coach in them to see if they want to keep Howell. I think Howell has done enough to be a starting quarterback. Of like the amount of sacks he's taken, that's the line, but also sometimes him, interceptions, stuff like that, sort of the same, because it can never be blamed on just about one person. But I think he's done enough for whatever that his draft pedigree, cheap contract as well. Also, but he really did have a first round grade prior to his last year. So I was like, you sort of see the first round part of him coming out or whatnot, and I guess a little bit of like why he sort of dropped at the same time. But he's safe. I think he's good in all of this. I guess maybe the ones that I'm like don't know are probably on the way out. Falcons with Desmond Ridder. I was pretty much on board with him this year because I was like, I thought he did pretty good at the end of last year. I thought he was all right this year at the beginning, and then his turnover became a problem. Now, in saying that, it's also been a year. He got benched early this year. I was like, the turnover is a problem. But also at the same time, it's really weird that we're really to get rid of him so quickly when he's really in the same boat that Jalen Hurts was sort of in. Jalen Hurts got in his first year for a little bit. Second year, played all right. He was okay. They went to play on the, had that bad game against the Bucks in the playoffs. Third year, new dude, and that's what we've gotten since then. So that's why it's kind of like drafted in the same spot, sort of the same purpose. So then it comes to, are you willing to give him a chance next year? You got weapons. You got Drake London, who they don't use to the full capabilities. Pittman, who they definitely don't. Bijan, who's been getting better running lately, but that's been a lot of the nitpicking. They got Algier, who's a really good change of pace back compared to, I know we say change of pace when it's like speed, but he's the change of pace to Bijan. And their defense has been solid this year. So then it comes to the coach. Are you going to keep the coach or not? And I think they're going to keep the coach, which to me, I think I keep Ridder unless you get, or like this is the situation, unless a quarterback you deem come. Like, we don't know who's all about to come out other than May and Williams. Penix, and I was like, Penix probably will come out for sure. So that's at least 3. So I'm like, so depending on who comes out, if one of those drop to you. But then again, are you willing to do another young quarterback? That's the problem. Do you want another young quarterback to replace a young quarterback? Like, you're going to have everybody on a rookie deal, so that's really helpful. But I would stick with Ridder Because I was like, at all else fails, he's still on his rookie contract of a second round dude, third round dude. I forget, but he, build out the rest of that team, and then give him a look. Bring in, I was like, Taylor Heineke, I was like, you had him in, and I was like, but it didn't seem like it really changed anything, so maybe bring in a better veteran. Not that many of them out there, but bring in a better veteran. I was like, I don't know. We'll see with that one as well. Panthers, Bryce Young, you keep him first year or whatever. I did a video on it that it's the owner's fault, really. Frank Wright's gone, but I was like, I think if they would have stuck with the crew, he had a chance to learn. He would have a chance to progress. He'd had, so I'm like, so he's not going to go anywhere. I don't think it's his fault. I think he's been playing really solid. We're going to go by rookie standard, not by CJ Stroud and all the other, like his standard, but by rookie standard. I was like, he's been accurate and he's been figuring out how to place the ball. I feel like his turnover has sort of like subsided as well, but a lot of that is you playing against crazy athletes, different in Alabama and all that other stuff. I was like, the Bears is a tricky one. I was like, with Justin Fields, and I was like, I'll throw in Tyler Bagent or whatever. I think Bagent is a good backup. I think he'll stick. I mean, it depends on if they change the coach or not. But Justin Fields coming up he got that 5th-year option. Do you want to keep it or not? They got the top draft pick. Do you want to build around Fields and get more, build more around with the pieces? Or do you want to jettison him off and draft a new quarterback? Depending on if you get a new coach. Me, I will keep Fields, use all those picks to get more around the team, then see how it's like they should do the Dolphins model where it's like you keep your picks, use your picks to build up around the team. Build up a team with some low contracts, veterans, and all this other stuff, and then see how your quarterback comes along. And guess what? You still got the picks to use that if you want to get rid of them. Good. Now the quarterback that comes in, you have all this team around you instead of being like any rookie quarterback that got like barely something to really do with. That's all I'm saying. But I think Tyler Bagent has showed enough to stick on the roster of being a capable backup. I was like, and not saying that somebody would want to make him your starter, but if you're going to really try to do something of cheap contract, build a team, that kind of thing, then maybe. But I was like, I think he's worth a look, but I was like, he's undrafted, so you're not going to put any eggs in that basket at all. The Giants with Daniel Jones. Once again, this one of them tricky young ones, or whatever you want to say. I felt like this was the year to really see what you got out of him, even though I know they gave him the money in the offseason. But he tearing his ACL, throw the wrench in it, because is he going to be back early enough? And then once he comes back, what is he really going to give you that you've seen that was different? I thought the offense had looked better with Tyrod Taylor in it. I think it's looked pretty good with DeVito in it, which makes you really think about Jones. That if these dudes could come in, give the ball to the receivers, give them a chance and all this other stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, the Giants still aren't good, but you can see the way the flow of the offense is, and them being in games and stuff. And that's why I'm like, if you are able to do it, let Daniel Jones go. Let him go. Have Daboll start all over with another young quarterback. I was like, hell, you keep Tyrod Taylor at the backup. I was like, just see where it goes and just start stripping. I was like, it sucks, I had to do something with Wall and all that other, like those veterans, but just strip it down, see how it goes, and call it a day. Raiders with Aiden O'Connell, I feel like this is sort of the same. He's in the same mode as Tyler Bagent. He's Dorian Thompson, I think that's the dude name for Cleveland. Those quarterbacks that pretty much got a chance this year that really was nothing up on them. I was like, the Raiders are going to have a decent pick. So, and once again, a quarterback falls or gets it within your range where you want to take it, do it, go ahead. But you could find yourself in a spot where you're like, Connor played pretty good. We can build the rest of the roster. He's cheap. It all depends on which way you want to go. Because you can't do just like Madden where you just like, man, I'm just going to keep him and just build everywhere else or whatever. No, I was like, it really depends. But I was like, with Mark Davis, you might kind of like, I feel like you want to keep Antonio Pierce. I was like, I feel like he's done a pretty good job so far, so to be kept. I know it ain't been a crazy amount of games, but I think by the end of it, it'll be fine to where it's kind of like, all right, cool. If you give me the reins to take my time to do this, we'll be good. And I think that's why you can be like, cool, we're going to keep Connell, bring in a better veteran other than Hoyer or something like that, or somebody else to compete with him and not necessarily a young quarterback, because they need too much more on their team to really, you know, be like bringing a rookie quarterback and just throw it all on his shoulders. I was like, so I keep Connell if I would. I was like, I guess I have with a lot of these, but like I said, I was like, unless you get, you know, like somebody to me, I was like, I think Penix will really be good for this team. If I get somebody like that, that's like dynamic. I do think the Raiders do need something to put their eggs in since they gone to Vegas. They need somebody, and I was like, you get one of these quarterbacks that's playing in the playoffs, which, you know, I was like, Penix, like I said, then go ahead and pull the trigger on it. I think that's the way to go. And I was like, the intriguing one, and then I was like, Jets with Zach Wilson, he's done. He's gone. There's nothing else there. I was like, yeah, you could decline his 5th year. I was like, let him go. Get somebody else. Rodgers is going to be back next year. Cut your losses. He hadn't. I was like, you could say the coordinator and stuff like that too, but he hadn't done anything worth anything. So you want to be hopeful, but it just ain't clicking at all. Like it's not in any type of way. And you just cut your losses. I was like, luckily you're not in the boat where you need a quarterback, but they might as well just draft another one or get a decent backup. Probably a decent backup with the team that they kind of got then drafting. Like you go ahead and draft a quarterback, but just do it in the later round, something like that kind of thing. Mac Jones is crazy because I think they're gonna bring him back. I do. I think they're gonna bring him back. I wouldn't. I just start over, and everything. But I think they might bring him back. I just do. They might just be. Belichick might be like, my fault. I'm gonna build more of the team. Do this a lot better. Keep him 5th year. If not, then it's done for him. That kind of thing. I think they're gonna bring him back. I wouldn't. I don't think he. I think he needs the 49ers, Miami. I think he needs those type of teams to be good. You know, I always thought that Mac Jones to me was like Matt Ryan, where if everything else is excellent, he's good. He can be great and like MVP great, but if you just have it on him, he could be consistent. And he hasn't even been consistent, and that's sort of the problem there. I let go, but I think they're gonna bring him back. Steelers with Kenny Pickett for my last one. If I was the Steelers, I let him go. I don't think there's nothing there. I think he's just an quarterback. But he played in Pittsburgh. That was like the Pittsburgh 1st-round pick. I think that was the dude's, the general manager at the time, his last pick. So with that whole legacy thing, where they really just try to copy the Ravens on with Lamar Jackson. But I let him go. I think even though the offense have looked like how it looks, and it looks like trash, poor, and all that other stuff, and they got rid of Cornet, I think it's Pickett. I don't think he's just a massively talented in that way to overcome anything. I think it has to be great in order for him to. And yeah, I was like, I don't think he. To me, he's almost like. To me, I was like, I don't think he is as talented as Sam Darnold, but he reminds me of Darnold. That I just don't think that I'm just like, I just think it's just not there. The talent, like you can sort of see a little bit of talent, you can sort of see it with the Pickett, and also he's older, so that I'm like, that doesn't give you the same leeway to say he could come around. Like they're not gonna, I don't think they're gonna, but I think he'll be back. The Steelers don't just jettison somebody. He'll be back. It's just my opinion that I will let him go. Anyway, that's how I feel about all these young quarterbacks out here during this time. We got more of the season to go. Those are the ones to look out for, mainly because they're on the younger end of everything, or they had some type of something that either they're like hella young, their mid-draft pick, so you don't have the backing in the same way, or there was some controversy about you getting the money or something like that. Anyway, if you like this video, I appreciate it. What do you think? Let me know. If not, hey, maybe next time. But until then, see how this goes at the end of the season.